What's up, soldiers? Your boy Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Vibes it up in the kitchen. This recipe takes me back to when I was a kid. My mom would do something very similar with smaller shrimp though. Usually when she would make coconut bake. Love it. Wicked sandwiches. We're doing a fried dry curry shrimp. Now where we lived when I was growing up on the islands was a little bit, there was a bit of distance between the fishing port where the fishing boats would come in San Fernando. However, we still had access to fresh catch, because what would happen is people would buy it wholesale and they would put it on the back of their pickup trucks and go from village to village, and you would hear that honking of the horn or some sort of noise mechanism to tell you the fish truck is just down the corner. So you'd go out, wave them down, and you'd get fresh, well, relatively fresh catch. So vibes it up, man. A fried dry curry shrimp. Make some coconut bake now. In my bowl here I have 1 pound of small, relatively small shrimp. Usually when my mom would do this it would be even smaller than this, but what I found here in Canada is that I cannot get smaller shrimp than this that's not already pre-cooked, and you don't want the pre-cooked stuff. And what I did was I cleaned it and I deveined it. You can see it's nice and clean, washed and drained. And we're going to season this up to allow it to marinate for about 20 minutes or so. You just don't want to over marinate it. I'm going to go in with salt. And my recipe is a little bit different than how my mom would normally do it, but nevertheless, real tasty. A tablespoon of Caribbean green seasoning. On CaribbeanPot.com I have the recipe for that green seasoning. I'll also have the link down in the description down below. Here I have 2 peppers, hot peppers, not as fiery as Scotch bonnet peppers, but 2 of them with seeds and everything. You can use this, you can use as much or you can cut back. When I'm doing curry shrimp, especially this sort of fried dry method, I like it very spicy. Next up I've got 1 scallion that I chopped up finely, some black pepper, and I have 1 small tomato that most of the seeds is gone. I de-seeded it and I chopped it up very small as well. This is totally optional. What I like about this, adding the tomato in this, and a lot of people when they cook curry they don't use a tomato, in the Caribbean anyways. In India I know it is one of the key ingredients in a good curry. But I like the sort of acid kick it would give to the dish. It kind of help balances off the curry that we're going to be using after. Give it a good mix and allow it to marinate, as I said, for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cook this right away because I'm greedy like that, you know. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to use my small iron pot, my small Dutchie here. I went in, it's on a medium flame right now with about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Yes, it is not so healthy for you because we're using that ton of vegetable oil. So if you want, you can use a non-stick pan. I'm just going to turn my heat down now because it's nice and warm. The vegetable oil is already in there, and I've got 3 cloves of garlic which I finely chopped that we're going to add in there. And the reason why my heat is on low now is because I want this to sort of bloom and to get that nice fragrance of the garlic in this oil without burning the actual garlic. As the garlic starts to take on a bit of color, what I'm going to do is go in, and this one here is my own personal take on this curry shrimp. I'm going to go in with some cumin seeds to show you guys. And in Trinidad we would probably call this geera. Just a few, maybe about half a teaspoon or so of those. That's going to add a lovely sort of earthy flavor to it. And right away I'm going to go in with my favorite curry powder. I'm going in with about 2 tablespoons of that curry powder. Here's another area where this is personalized to my own way of doing things. Mom would usually make a slurry with water with her curry powder, but I like doing it this way because I like to toast the spices which make up that curry powder to really, you know, bring it out, man. So let that keep going low heat for about 3 minutes. Your kitchen should have that lovely aroma of this this curry that we got going on here. Here's where now we're going to crank up that heat now to like a medium high, because we want this to cook very fast. Shrimp cooks very fast. And we're going to start going in with the marinade, everything, just about everything here. Start adding it to the pot and mixing it around. Do not put the lid on there whatsoever. We don't need that lid on there. And keep sort of stir frying it, tossing it around just to pick up all that curry goodness on the bottom of the pot there. In about 4 or 5 minutes time you will have a very exciting looking curry shrimp here. Notice no liquid, we didn't add any water, we didn't put the lid on there because we want this nice and dry. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. Just going to turn off the stove. Please hit subscribe if this is your first time watching me here. Check out CaribbeanPot.com. And the last thing, yeah, that pepper got to me now. The last thing I like doing, some cilantro. If you have shadow benny, even better. Vibes it up, man. A nice curry shrimp something here.